Good morning. It's me, Sandra, and welcome back to School the Rock. I'm just having a little snack here. You know, French fries are one of my favorite snacks. One of the reasons why I like them so much is because you put salt on them, and I really enjoy salty snacks. Well, of course I have to put ketchup and vinegar on first before I add the salt. What a salty mess! I didn't realize that the salt shaker lid was unscrewed. Well, these French fries aren't any good to eat anymore. They're too full of salt. They'll taste gross and bitter. Have you ever heard of the expression, too much of a good thing? Well, this is a perfect example of that. The right amount of salt can make my fries taste yummy, but too much salt makes them taste bitter. Blech. Well, this messy plate of fries is actually a good lead into our next School of the Rock series. Our new series is called Messy. And over the next 6 weeks, we'll be digging into some Bible stories that are a little messy and maybe even a little gross at times. Now, even though these stories are a little messy, we will see God's love through them. I think this is the right day to tell you the story about Lot and his family. They discovered that doing things their way instead of God's way can be bitter and salty. Now, our story is found in Genesis 19, 9-26. Let's take a look at that story now. I'll go grab my Bible. God had told Abraham he was going to destroy the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah because the people there had become so evil. Abraham's nephew Lot was living in Sodom with his family. Abraham asked God if he would destroy the godly people in Sodom along with the evil people. God finally agreed that he would spare the city of Sodom from destruction if he found 10 godly people there. God sent 2 angels to Sodom. Lot met them at the city gate. He didn't realize at the time that they were angels. He thought they were men. And as was the custom, Lot greeted them and offered them his home as a place for them to stay for the night. Lot knew that the city was a dangerous place for newcomers to stay out in the open. After the meal, all the men of Sodom came to Lot's house. Because they were so evil, they wanted to hurt the 2 men and insisted that Lot send them outside. Lot tried to reason with the crowd, but they wouldn't back down. "Get out of our way," the men of Sodom replied to Lot. "You came here as an outsider. Now you act like a judge. We'll treat you worse than them." They kept trying to force Lot to open the door. Then they moved forward to break it down. But the angels inside reached out and pulled Lot back in the house and shut the door. Then they made the men who were at the door of the house blind. They blinded both young and old men so that they couldn't find the door. The 2 angels said to Lot, "Do you have any other family members here? Do you have any sons-in-law, sons, daughters, or any other relatives in the city? Get them out of here. We're going to destroy this place. Many have cried out to the Lord against the people of this city, so he has sent us to destroy it." Then Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law. They had promised to marry his daughters. He said, "Hurry up, get out of this place. The Lord is about to destroy the city." But the sons-in-laws thought he was joking. The sun was coming up, so the angels tried to get Lot to leave. They said, "Hurry up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here. Get out. If you don't, you'll be swept away when the city is destroyed." Lot didn't move right away. So the men grabbed him by the hand. They also took hold of the hands of his wife and 2 daughters. They led all of them safely out of the city. The Lord had mercy on them. As soon as the angels had brought them out, one of them spoke. He said, "Run for your lives. Don't look back. Don't stop anywhere in the valley. Run to the mountains. If you don't, you will be swept away." But Lot said to them, "No, my lords, please, you have done me a big favor. You have been very kind to me by sparing my life, but I can't run to the mountains. I won't be able to escape this horrible thing that's going to happen, and then I'll die. Look, here's a town near enough to run to. It's small. Let me run to it. It's very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared." The Lord said to Lot, "All right, I will also give you what you are asking for. I will not destroy the town you are talking about, but run there quickly. I can't do anything until you reach it." The town was named Zor. Zor means small. By the time Lot reached Zor, the sun had risen over the land. Then the Lord sent down burning sulfur. It came down like rain on Sodom and Gomorrah. It came from the Lord. It came out of the sky. The Lord destroyed these cities and a whole valley. All the people who were living in the cities were wiped out. So were the plants in the land. But Lot's wife looked back. When she did, she became a pillar made out of salt. This is definitely a messy story. There are some difficult stories in the Bible that can be hard to understand why God did what he did. We know that both the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah were filled with very evil people who wanted nothing to do with God. And we can trust that God had good reason for destroying both these wicked cities. But because of God's love for Abraham and his family, he sent angels to save Lot and his wife and their daughters. Lot and his family knew the right thing to do. They were to leave the wickedness of Sodom and Gomorrah behind. Run, the angel said, and don't look back. 3 of them made it, but Lot's wife did not. Perhaps Lot's wife looked back at the city out of longing for the life that they once had in Sodom. Whatever the reason, she disobeyed God, and as a result, faced the consequences of her disobedience and became a pillar of salt. God wanted to separate Lot's family from the wicked city. He wanted to save them from a life surrounded by sin. Likewise, God wants to save all of us from sin. And when we give our hearts to Jesus, he wants us to keep our eyes on Jesus. And he doesn't want us to look back longingly on the sinful life we used to lead. We too are faced with consequences for our sin. We won't become pillars of salt, but we will face being separated with God. God doesn't want that for us. He wants us to have a forever friendship with him. And that's why he sent Jesus to take the consequences of our sin for us. So what does that mean? Well, let's say I was a bank robber and I robbed a bank. And because I broke the law, I was going to have to go to jail to pay for my crime. But instead, my friend Bob went to the judge and said he would go to jail for me and do the time for my crime. So Bob went to jail and I went free. That's kind of what Jesus does for us. Our sin means we deserve to be separated from God forever. But Jesus died on the cross so we don't have to face this separation from God. All that Jesus requires of us is to believe in him, that he is the Son of God who did this for us, and to be obedient to him. God wants to save you from your sin. He wants to give you an amazing life. He wants you to choose to follow him. God can save you from the bitter, messy, salty end that sin brings. Lot's wife found out the hard way that God's way is always best. Choose God and choose the best for your life. Let's say our big idea together. God's way is always best. Thanks for stopping by this week. Come back next week for another messy Bible story. See you then.